Hello Internet and welcome back to our Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead series. In the last episode we actually wanted to harvest a storage battery from an electric vehicle, so we went back to the junkyard we had explored previously to get ourselves a crane. We then did harvest the storage battery, although it was very damaged, so it only gave us smaller parts, and we continued our journey back towards the town that we started the game in. Now this town was overrun by Triffids last time we were here, but we did want to harvest a luxury RV. On our way we did come across something called a spy deer, which I had never seen before, so that's pretty cool. And eventually we made it to the RV. We looked at the parts and we kind of are in a position where we still haven't really harvested everything, and we'll probably do that in this episode. And that's about it for the previous episode. So hey everybody, welcome back to our series. Hopefully everyone is having a good day. I see it is nighttime, so we're very limited in what we're able to do. So we're not going to be able to harvest the RV. We did kill a Triffid, I believe, in the last episode, so we need to be aware that they're in the area. But I'm not super concerned. I don't think that we're going to end up getting murdered or anything like that, so we should be just fine. We probably should reload our magazines since we're right here and I'm thinking about it. Oh, and I just had the hiccups immediately upon starting the video. So let's go to the magazine itself and go to reload. You don't have any 5.56 NATO. Well, that's not correct. I know that I do. I guess we were just too far away. So let's reload. Excellent. So we have another full magazine. And why don't we reload? We'll leave that magazine alone because it's in our gun. We'd have to swap out clips. It doesn't really matter. So what do we do while it's nighttime? I think we found out that we can't actually read our books because we don't have the skills for these books, or we've already surpassed them. So like these are not going to give us anything. So how do we pass time without books? I guess we don't. I guess we don't. We could craft things. I don't really have anything in mind to craft other than to keep eating a lot of meat products to get our calorie stores up. I don't know what we do here. I guess maybe we can explore. Have we explored? We've already explored these houses, so there's nothing there that we're gonna find. I don't want to push into the town while it's dark because, one, there are parks everywhere that we would want to go, and two, because of the Triffids here. I don't know what we do to pass the time. I guess we craft. I mean, we could craft, raise our skills. Let's have a look at our skills. What do we got going on here? Because we have pretty high mechanics and fab and all that, so I don't know what we would even craft raise. We have mechanic 6, fab 6. We could work on tailoring, but we don't have the materials, and it takes a really long time. We could try craft raising electronics. We did harvest electronics from some of that machinery at the light industry area. Can't really craft raise healthcare, and that's about it. We could craft raise cooking, but I mean, we would have to eat all the food or it would just go bad. We could craft raise survival. Sometimes I like having a higher survival skill, although it's not strictly necessary. Let's see what we could make with survival here that would raise our skill. Looks like the hobo stove and the ember carrier. One requires tin cans, which we only have 2 of, and the other requires scrap metal. Interesting. I'm not sure why the hobo stove doesn't require a can. Oh, it's either or. I see. Okay. I guess we could make some of these hobo stoves. That would kill some time and raise our survival. We'll make 4 of them. Unfortunately, we don't have a workbench in our vehicle, so this is going to slow things down. Also, this is boring. Let's get a question nice and early. Random question for us to answer. Click. What is one absolutely insane thing that you do? Oh, geez. I don't know. I mean, I talk to myself sometimes in the same way that I'm talking to you now. I will, sometimes when I'm driving, I drive for a living. I'm out and about for hours at a time. Sometimes I will vocalize things. It makes me feel better to vocalize things. Just as part of it helps me work through situations when I'm feeling not so good and I need to kind of organize my thoughts. Talking out loud helps me with that. I don't think that's insane, though. I mean, that's like a cliche thing. People will say, like, oh, if you talk to yourself, you're a crazy person. But I don't think that that's... One, I don't think that that's correct. Two, I think it belittles people And 3, I think probably more people talk to themselves on occasion than you think they do. So I think that's a bit reductive. So I'm not really concerned about that. I don't think that's insane. What do I do that's insane? Insane is such a powerful word. You know, it's not like saying, what do you do that's a little weird? You know, it's much more significant than that. It takes 2 hours to carve a bone flute, which makes sense, but also sucks because that's not... I don't know how much percent we'll get. Let's make 1, and let's see how much percentage we get from 0, because we're at 0 survival right now for level 3. So let's have a look at how much that gave us. Insane things I do. 31%. Not amazing, but also not terrible. Is it light out yet? No. Although it will be in the next like half hour, 45 minutes. Let's craft something a little simpler. Metal axe head. Sure. It's weird that that only takes 20 minutes compared to the 2 hours for a flute. Because it's shaping metal, which you would think would be a much more difficult material to work than carving. Oh, I see. Because there's no proficiencies for the axe head. There is proficiencies for the... Whatever. Let's make 2 of these. We'll use the chunks because they're smaller, if I recall correctly. And... dispose of your bone. Yes. And that should give us some decent percentages. Not really. Only gave us about 9%. That's not very good at all. Let's grab our spear because we're going to go back out into the wilderness here, into the wild of the apocalypse. And we'll pick these back up and we'll just dump them in the road because again, we don't really care about these items. It was more about grinding our skill. Axe heads, bone flute. I guess I could keep them. I just don't see any reason to. Same with the hobo stove. I just don't see me using those things. And then let's make ourselves some more meat to get a good meal in our belly. Seems like 3 meat is about what we need to become sated. So we will just in general make 3 probably. And we'll go ahead and eat our freshly cooked meat. What is this on the ground underneath my vehicle here? Nothing? Why is there a little... Oh, it's part of the frame? Those little nub things? Alright. We could turn off this light. And we should really install more solar panels today as well. Just so we can get a little bit more power flowing into the vehicle. Although we're doing fantastic with that. Alright. What do we want from this? We're going to want, bare minimum, the storage battery and any solar panels. I think... Did we take off the solar panels already? They were on the back, right? Yeah, I think we took them off. I don't think there were very many. So let's get our crane out so we can track down this storage battery. What do I do that's insane? I'm sitting here, I'm trying to think of something I do that's like genuinely bonkers that people would be like, wow, that's really weird, man. Where did I put my crane as well here? Did I leave it? There's the hand jack, okay. So we'll deploy the hand jack. Oh, actually, I do know something that I think people would think is crazy. Oh, that's a long story though. I mean, we just started, so okay. I do have a crazy thing that I do. So there's this movie. How do I talk about this? Everything I'm about to talk about is super spoilery, so I don't think I should tell you the name of the movie because I think it would be spoilery. But so there's this movie. God, it's a long story. Okay, there's this movie where there's the main character's in prison, and like, okay, well, first of all, you know that I suffer from depression. And I talk about it a lot. I struggle with depression. And a lot of times when I talk about it, I think I personify my depression as though it's another person. So I will often say things like, I will talk about my depression as though it is a living creature, right? And sometimes I will refer to it like, oh, it's the monster on my back, right? Like stuff like that. So just to put things in perspective, I think about my depression almost as though it's a living creature that is harassing me, sort of, if that makes sense. I don't know if we can reach this storage battery. Let's try. Storage battery. And it's also leaking, by the way. Every one that we come across is leaking, which is just super fun. We're going to move that from there to there. We'll haul this back to the vehicle. Again, we will take this apart for constituent parts and then rebuild them so that they all kind of fit together. I don't know if there's space for this. There he is. Great. So there's really not much else we want from this vehicle, I guess. I didn't really see anything while I was looking through that I want. So I guess that's it for this. Really not very impressive at all. We're not going to install the storage batteries right now, so we don't need the jack, but we are going to put these solar panels on. So anyway, in this movie, the main character is in prison. It's kind of how we're introduced to that character, is that he's in prison. And he's been there because basically someone else, I don't remember, I think maybe someone else snitched on him, or somebody set him up to go down and go to prison. So this character, he's in like solitary confinement in prison for years. Like I think he's there for 7 years, always in solitary, always alone. And during that time, like he meets some people, you know, in other cells, other prisoners and stuff, but like mainly it's not about that. Like it's crucial to the plot, blah blah blah, etc. But like the main thing is that he plots his revenge, right? He spends years plotting revenge on the person who basically set him up, if that makes sense. And they're both, you know, criminals and all that stuff, and they like owned a casino together or something like that. So the whole time that he's incarcerated, he's like planning his next move. Like, how do I get back at this person? Like, and we hear his voiceover in the movie a lot. So like, even like it's just him narrating, right? So he'll say things like, you know, he took everything from me. You know, I hate this guy. I'm gonna kill him when I get out. I'm gonna kill him. And so you hear his voiceover the whole time. And he gets out, and it's really interesting movie. There's some cool stuff that happens, but like mainly he wants his revenge. So he starts seeking this person out. He starts taking things from him. You know, he starts like ruining his business. He starts stealing his money. He does all this stuff to try and get revenge on this person who got him busted and sent to prison. And throughout the movie, he is, you know, we keep hearing that voiceover, like, this man took everything from you. We're going to tear him apart. We're going to rip him down. You deserve this. You've earned this. And it's his internal dialogue kind of building him up and encouraging him to take from the person who stole from him and get his revenge. And then towards the end of the movie, you know, things are escalating throughout the whole movie. The bad guy, quote unquote, is getting more and more paranoid. Things are getting pretty out of hand. And so the main character is riding up in an elevator. And basically this whole movie, two of his friends are trying to convince him, like, this is the wrong thing. You should not get your revenge. This is going to destroy you. You can't just go out and get revenge. You have to let this go. And the whole movie, you know, his voiceover is like, no, I can't let this go. This man took everything from me. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to get my revenge, whatever. And the whole movie, they're trying to convince him, like, this is not the way to do this. You don't have to do this. You're better than this. And he's riding up in an elevator, basically, to the penthouse. He's got a gun in his hand, and he's about to kill the bad guy. And so he's going up to murder the guy who put him in prison. And as he's going up in the elevator, he's like super animated. He's like losing it. The guy is just standing still in the elevator, kind of listening to his internal dialogue, but his inner self is screaming, like, we're finally doing this. We're gonna F and kill him. We're gonna do this. I'm gonna take everything from him, like he took everything from me. And he's just screaming. And in the film, they're shooting it side by side. So like the guy's standing in the elevator, completely stationary, very calm, but you can see his reflection in the mirrors of the elevator, and he's super animated. He's screaming. He's carrying on. He's acting crazy. And while he's riding up to kill basically the bad guy, he stops and is like, I can hear you. And his voiceover is like, what? He's like, yeah, I can hear you. I'm on to you. And he goes up and he doesn't kill the guy. He basically has a gun on him to kill him. And he puts the gun down and is like, I'm not going to kill you, you know, and he walks away. And the bad guy is screaming like what his inner dialogue was screaming the whole movie, basically like, oh, I'm better than you. You're nothing. You're pathetic. I'm stronger than you. I have everything. You have nothing. And it's reflecting that his inner dialogue had been. So the movie is actually like one of those brain kind of movies where it messes with your head a little bit. So like the point of the movie, and then the movie ends with like doctors talking about the concept of ego and like the primitive brain that we all have inside of us. And so the point of the movie is that this whole movie, he is hearing these inner dialogue telling him to take things and to kill and to take revenge and get what he deserves and what he has earned. And the reality is that that's just his primitive, primal self encouraging him towards violence and towards, you know, being what it wants him to be. Oh, I'm this super powerful entity. I deserve to take this. I deserve this, whatever. And it's all just his ego and his kind of, not psychosis, but like the primitive part of him that's encouraging him to do all these things. And then as he's riding up in the elevator, he realizes basically that his friends that have been telling him, like, you don't have to do this, this isn't you, they're right. It's not him. It's a primitive part of him that's pushing him to do these bad things. And he kind of rises above that and is like, no, I recognize you're not me. You're just a part of me. You're just that primitive part of my brain. I'm not your slave. I don't have to do what you tell me to do. I'm strong enough to be the man that I want to be. I don't have to be a slave to my kind of wild, violent insides, you know. And so for me, that really speaks to me. And I know it's crazy. Man, it's a long explanation. Hopefully that all made sense. But it's a long explanation. But basically for me, I've always felt like I have these, because I have these voices in my head that basically every day of my life are whispering to me, saying things like, you know, you're not good enough, or everyone hates you, or no one could ever love you, or, you know, you're weak, you're pathetic. Like all these whispering kind of thoughts that come, they're inside of me, you know, they come from inside of me. When I hear that voice in my head, it's my voice. It's not someone talking to me or anything, you know, like psychosis or anything like that. And it's interesting because it's not really me as well. Like it comes from inside of me and it is a part of me, but it's not really me, if that makes sense. It's that primitive part of my brain that for years has had dominance over my life, where I allowed it to have all this control and I believed it and I listened to it and I let it, you know, dictate what I did. Because like so much of my youth was spent pursuing things that would make me feel better, even for a moment. Like that's where my struggle with addiction has always come from, is me trying to find comfort when I'm super miserable and I feel like I'm pathetic and weak and sad. So, oh God, I don't know if this all makes sense. But anyway, when I'm having a really bad day and I hear these kind of whispery voices telling me like, you're never going to be anything, you're never going to be anything, you're just going to be pathetic for the rest of your life, no one's ever going to care about you, no one's ever going to love you. When I hear those things and I'm having a particularly bad day, I will stop whatever I'm doing. Like most of the time it happens when I'm in my car, so I'll be driving and whatever, and I'll be hearing, you know, those thoughts just overwhelming me. And what I'll do is I'll stop thinking, you know, I'll arrest my thoughts, and I'll say, you know, I'm onto you. I can hear you. I recognize you are part of me, but you are not me. And so once I kind of once I verbalize that and I say that out loud, I feel a lot better and am more like, okay, we're feeling this right now, we're thinking this right now, but this is not how it really is. This is a tainted view of how things are based on my, you know, kind of struggle with mental illness and all that stuff that I've dealt with for years. God, I hope that doesn't sound too crazy. But anyway, just vocalizing that and saying like, okay, you are not me. You are just a part of me. I'm not going to let you control my life. I'm not going to blindly listen to everything that you say. I'm not going to give in to my, you know, temptations and my addiction just because I feel sad and because you're telling me it's the only way to feel better, you know. Like you'll feel better if you go to the casino. You'll feel better if you know, go out and you know, find a lady to be with or whatever. You know, that's not me. That's just the darkness that exists inside of me. That's the depression that for years I gave power over my life, and I let it control me, and I believed everything it said and conceded to it and let it dictate my actions because I thought that that's just how it was. There was no there was no recognition that this is not real. For me, it was always everything it said was true, and this is just how the world is. And now, with therapy and stuff, I've spent a long time challenging those thoughts. I just blew a mirror off that vehicle. And so now I kind of recognize it, and the way I deal with it is to personify it as a different person. So for me, like I said, it's like my depression is a living creature that I have to share space with. So like when I have those moments, I can recognize, yes, I'm hearing these thoughts and I'm having these thoughts, but that's not coming from me. That's coming from my depression. You know, it's trying to tear me down. It wants to destroy me. God, I don't know if this all makes sense. Probably I sound like a crazy person. Anyway, it's a good movie. People don't talk about it. I don't know if, maybe it didn't get a wide release. I remember watching it when I was a teenager and thought it was really cool. We got an NPC up here at this military helipad. I'm not sure what to make of that because I believe that those have turrets around them, and I don't think I'm in a position to deal with that. With the daylight seeming to not be full at the moment either, I don't want to venture over there because the turrets could see me from further away than I could see them, probably, given the light radius that we're experiencing. I don't know. Let's oh, and if they're 50 cal, if we even get close, they're just gonna pop me and I'm gonna die. I don't know what to do. But we kind of want to go up to this town, I think. There's really no way in other than through the parks, which I really don't like, but we're going to check up here. Maybe this is open field and we could just drive to a different part of the town and come in a little bit. If not, we're probably just going to head back to our permanent base that we were at, you know, for most of this game. So anyway, that's something I do that's pretty insane, you know, talking to my my depression as though it's a living creature. And telling it that I'm onto it and that I'm not going to let it rule me. Probably sounds very crazy to someone on the outside. I don't know. How long did that take to explain? What time are we at? Oh, I screwed up my recording earlier, so I don't really know how much. I had to restart a couple times, so I don't know how much time we've done. Anyway, it's a great movie. I don't think people know about it. I would tell you what it is, but it's pretty spoiler heavy. Obviously, I just gave away the ending and all that stuff, but if you've seen it, you probably know what the movie is based on that. So anyway, pretty good movie. I haven't seen it in a long time. It's one of those that's so when I was young, I would watch a lot of movies that kind of had that mind, like it would screw with your mind sort of thing. Like Fight Club was one that when I was a teenager, good God, what's going on over here? This little zombie mosh pit over here. A lot of corpses. Looks like they were human corpses originally. What is that? Oh, that's the biter. What are they called? Slavering biter? Yeah. I know I've seen this before. It looks like it's wearing a muumuu or like a parka or something. I don't know. A lot of zombies. Can't really... What are you? Are you a pupating zombie? Yeah. What, why are you all out here? And this is all just forest and swamp, huh? So we can't go through here. Why are there so many zombies over here? By the way, like it's like, I don't know, 25 zombies right here, plus probably more that we just can't see because they're over here. What's going on, guys? What are you doing? Regular grappler zombie? Okay. I think we just go back to base. I don't see a reason to mess with them. Oh, now the horde music starts. Okay. So we're just going to turn away. I think we will go see if we can get eyes on the military base. Oh, that's the golf course. I don't want to go there. We're going to go look and see if we can get to the military base just to have a look. I don't think we can get in it. I think they have turrets on every corner, and because it's such a small location, they have like perfect coverage. So I'm not sure how I would get over there to deal with the turrets. I suppose we could pull down our curtains and just drive into them and hope that we destroy them with the vehicle, but that seems like danger for really no reason. I can't... I'm sure that there is good stuff in a military helipad or whatever it is. What is it exactly? Yeah, it's a helipad. So probably also there would be like a chopper there, but I can't really think of why I would need to go there for anything, like what we could get out of it. I don't know. And there is an NPC there, which I think bodes well because it means either the turrets aren't really there because... Oh, hello turret. Yep, so there is a turret there, and it's the dangerous kind, of course. So why didn't they kill the survivor that's there? Are you just in a building? Maybe either they spawned there, in which case they might have been in a building and just never left, or this could be a product of NPCs migrating to safe locations, because I believe that military locations are on their list of places that they will go. And maybe when they do that, they don't actually walk there, so they just sort of teleport in and appear. So maybe that's what happened. But 100% we can't fight this. Yep, knew you were going to shoot at me. We were a little too close. So it didn't manage to hit us, which is good. Would have been bad to take a bullet. Bullets are bad. And yeah, I don't know a way to get close to them without really getting shot all kinds of bullets full of my body. That was a terrible sentence, but you know what I mean. Alrighty. So we're just going to head back to base. Nothing else out here I really care about. Are there any other marked vehicles or anything before we leave? Okay, we can remove this note. Get rid of this note. We've already dealt with the luxury RV. And honestly, it has like a washer and a dishwasher in it. I just don't see a reason to take those. So we could leave it marked so that like we could come back and get those if we wanted them. But honestly, we're getting to the point in the game where we can make that stuff pretty easily, or we can find it somewhere else. I'm really not I don't want it. It's not something I want. We did say we would check these spokes before we went back to base, so I guess we'll do that. Maybe we can find a science lab. That would be a fun distraction from, you know, we've mostly been playing pretty much the same loot and scoot kind of game that we normally would play. So getting to a lab would shake things up a little bit, you know, you get a little change of pace. Let's head back. Let's try not to clip any vehicles as we go. Anyway, yeah, I always feel weird when I share really personal, crazy stuff like that because I know I'm not a normal person. Like, don't... Oh, that ram counts as the front tile. Of course it does. I didn't even think about that. Altica vehicles are a little troublesome because their tiles aren't always occupied by the full tile. So like this side tile here doesn't occupy the entire square, but it does for collision purposes. And I honestly, this one does mostly take up the square, so I think I just wasn't paying attention. Oh, and it's because our vehicle is like that. So this front section actually occupies this square, even though the sprite barely exists in this square at all. So when we came up, we actually collided because I wasn't thinking about this being a full square here. Yeah, I do wish they would change that. I know that that's a pretty small thing to complain about, but I'm pretty dumb and I will forever make that mistake. So I do wish that they occupied the full square, or at least the majority of the square, rather than just a small little portion. So small complaint though. I do still really like Altica. You know, it comes up all the time. People are like, you should use undead people, and I'm like, nah, you know, I like Altica. I like the less cartoon. Let's not hit this one like we hit the last one. I like Altica. You know, it's a little less cartoony. It's a little bit more, not realistic per se. I don't know how to say it. I just like the sprites, especially the animal sprites. I think the rabbits and the bird, all that stuff. Despite the fact that they're very, very small and hard to see, like literally we have one right here. Despite the fact that they're tiny and hard to see, I like a lot of the animal sprites, and overall the monster sprites as well. I think everything looks great, you know, in Altica. So why would I, you know, I don't have to change. I understand a large percentage of the player base uses undead people, but my content really can be broken down. Oh god, they're just trailer parks. Alright, well that sucks. We're gonna turn around here. So my audience is broken down into two categories. Number one, people who are kind of just discovering Cataclysm for the first time, and then hardcore players. So if you're like a player who plays quite a lot or has played for a long time, I don't think it matters what tile set I use because you're gonna be fine with it. You're gonna know what's going on. It doesn't really matter what the sprite looks like. You know what a zombie does and stuff like that. But for new players who just pick up the game, a lot of them are going to use the pre-installed tile sets. So if they go online and they're looking to learn the game for the first time, and they're trying to find, you know, some content from someone online to watch Let's Plays and tutorial stuff, they're more likely to be using the Altica tile set because it's the default tile set. So to appeal to those people and not confuse them by having a bunch of different sprites, it makes sense for me to use Altica. You know, those are the big reasons. There is another reason that we talk about some... Sorry, I got a coughing fit there. And I kept driving like an idiot, so we probably have a weird cut there. And there is another reason why I don't use undead people, which we talk about sometimes, but people get really mad when you bring it up. And that is the copyrighted tiles issue. You can have whatever opinion, like, listen, people get real mad whenever I mention the copyright issues. You can get as mad as you want. Your opinion doesn't change that I'm using Altica, right? So you can get mad and you can defend whoever you want. I personally don't like that there are copyrighted tiles in that set that when prompted to take them out of the set, the author refused, right? So that, I don't like that, right? I'm not saying that person who makes the tile set, I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm not saying it's a bad tile set. I just don't want to use it. So when people get real mad, because people do, they'll come out of the woodwork every time you mention a tile set, or even when you don't. Sometimes they'll just come on and be like, oh, you're using Altica? You should really use Undead People because it's objectively the best tile set and you're an idiot for not using it. It's like, dude, just chill. If you want to use it, use it. But I don't care what you use. Leave me alone, you know? It has nothing to do... I didn't say it's a bad tile set. It's a great tile. It looks great. I didn't say the person is a bad person. I don't have opinions on that, really. So it's like, just calm down. Do whatever you want. Just settle down. People get so mad over tile sets. So I do think we're going to pivot here, because we're going to murder these zombie soldiers for presumably a little extra ammunition, because there's a little cluster of them, and I see a gun over here. So that's what we're going to do in the next episode. We're also going to hit these other spokes just to see what's out here. Really doesn't look like any science labs, which is a huge bummer. Really thought, you know, we explored, what, 8 of these now, little spokes, and we were really hoping one of them would be a science lab. It's really not a big deal. We'll find one eventually. So anyway, yeah, so that's it for this episode. Hopefully no one got all enraged over tile set talk or tuned out because I sounded like a crazy person talking about how I talk to myself and whatnot. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be back with more content in the near future. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.